In our headlines on this Tuesday, March 4th, here in South Korea. For the first time since October last year, all three major economic indicators, including industrial output, retail sales and facility investment, lost ground on month in January in yet another sign of anxiety over U.S. tariffs and their potential repercussions. And speaking of U.S. tariffs, the blanket 25% import duty on Canadian and Mexican goods entering the American market are going into effect on this Tuesday, as pledged by the Trump administration, while China faces additional tariffs. Also, on the diplomatic front, U.S. President Donald Trump calls for a halt in American defense support to Ukraine following a dramatic exchange with President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House last Friday. We begin with the triple tumble, if you will, of Korea's industrial output, facility investment and retail sales in January, amid growing concerns of the broader impact of U.S. tariffs. Park Gun-woo has our top story.
South Korea's production, investment, and consumption all dropped in January, according to data from Statistics Korea on Tuesday, marking the first decline in 2 months.
That was mainly due to the base effect from relatively strong growth the previous month and fewer working days due to the long Lunar New Year holiday.
Overall industrial output in January decreased by 2.7% on month. That's the largest drop in nearly 5 years, since early 2020 when the number of COVID-19 cases started to surge. The mining and manufacturing sector fell by over 2%, despite a slight increase in chip production. In investment, facility investment plunged more than 14% on month, the biggest drop in over 4 years, driven by declines in machinery and transport equipment. Construction and civil engineering project results also fell, contributing to the overall drop in investment. Consumption also decreased in January by 0.6% compared to the previous month, with drops seen in items such as cosmetics. One expert said it'll be difficult to see any positive signs across the board throughout the year, especially regarding the tariff war.
The exports will decline dramatically. Korean companies are exporting goods produced in China to the United States. That will be devastating. And another one is many Korean companies have established the factories in Mexico.
Amid these challenges, the Finance Ministry has vowed to strengthen efforts to support the recovery of people's livelihoods and boost exports through funding. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
And on the topic of tariffs, the 25% duty on Canadian and Mexican imports into the American market are going into effect on this Tuesday, as are additional tariffs against China. And Sung-jin reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump's imposition of 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico went into effect on March 4th local time. Likewise, tariffs on China were doubled to 20% on the same day. However, these countries issued immediate responses. China's Ministry of Commerce was quick to respond, issuing a statement that said Beijing will take retaliatory measures, with import taxes of 10 to 15% on some U.S. goods, including American beef, pork, dairy, and agricultural products starting from March 10th. The statement also said that imposing tariffs is a typical act of unilateralism and bullying. China also vowed to impose export control sanctions on some American companies for strategic items. Canada has also retaliated by immediately imposing 25% tariffs on 30 billion Canadian dollars or 20 billion US dollars worth of US imports, adding that more will be levied on another 86 billion US dollars worth of goods within the next 21 days. In a written statement, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said these tariffs will continue until US trade measures are withdrawn. These corresponding measures come as Trump again cited drug trafficking as a major reason for the import taxes.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set.
Trump on his social media further announced that the U.S. will be levying tariffs on crop purchases as well, starting from April 2nd. Fruit, vegetable, and nut imports have been climbing, leading to an agriculture trade deficit in the U.S. As Trump continues to slap tariffs, the U.S. economy has been startled. U.S. stocks plunged on Monday, with the Nasdaq dropping by around 3% and the Dow Jones losing nearly 2%. Pundits say as investment confidence has fallen following the tariff impositions, there are growing concerns for the U.S. market, especially regarding inflation.
I think the tariff scenario is definitively an inflationary aspect to what can happen within the economy and the market. Right now, what I'm seeing and hearing is a little bit of a stagflation concern.
The tariffs are raising concerns that tit-for-tat levies could eventually lead to a global trade war. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Taiwanese chipmaker TSMC has pledged an additional $100 billion investment into plants in the U.S. The announcement was shared at the White House on Monday following a meeting between the company's CEO C.C. Wei and U.S. President Donald Trump, who claimed the investment would boost chip production on American soil and bolster national security as Washington seeks to reduce its reliance on chips made here in Asia. This latest pledge of investment by TSMC follows its earlier pledge of $65 billion in recent years, with plans for a third factory in Arizona by the year 2030. Meanwhile, in China, the country is hosting its biggest annual political event against the backdrop of heightened trade tensions with the U.S. in a complex geopolitical landscape. Our Arirang J touches upon the potential issues on the agenda at the latest two sessions.
On Tuesday, China begins its largest political event of the year with the annual plenary sessions of the National People's Congress and of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, collectively known as the Two Sessions. Much of the discussion is expected to focus on countermeasures against Trump's tariff war. On top of the 10% tariff U.S. President Donald Trump initially imposed on China, another 10% tariff was added on top as the U.S. leader felt that not enough was being done to stop the flow of fentanyl into the United States. This brings the combined tariff to 20% on Chinese imports since the start of the Trump administration. According to China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson last Friday, Beijing will seek necessary measures to firmly safeguard its interests.
The U.S. has once again threatened to impose additional tariffs on Chinese products exported to the United States under the pretext of the fentanyl issue. China is strongly dissatisfied and firmly opposed to this. We will take all necessary measures to firmly safeguard our legitimate interests. China has repeatedly stated that there are no winners in trade and tariff wars. The unilateral imposition of tariffs by the United States seriously violates WTO rules and harms the interests of both countries and the world.
According to experts, China could respond to Trump's tariffs by targeting American agricultural products and food. As China is a major importer of American agricultural products, such retaliatory measures would greatly affect American farmers and exporters alike. With the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference opening the two sessions on Tuesday, the top political advisory body will first discuss countermeasures against the tariffs. They're also set to discuss economic policies as the country sees an economic downturn. During the two sessions, an economic growth target of around 5% is expected to be announced, and a policy of replacing old consumer goods with new ones will be further expanded to increase domestic demand. A special national bond issuance is also expected to be used to stimulate the economy. Meanwhile, the National People's Congress on Wednesday is expected to present China's national administration direction. Arirang J, Arirang News.
On the diplomatic front, U.S. President Donald Trump has called for a halt in American defense support of Ukraine following a dramatic exchange with President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House last Friday. Our Kim Jong-sil has the latest.
U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a pause in all military aid to Ukraine just days after the heated confrontation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Multiple U.S. media outlets reported on the decision on Monday local time, citing senior administration and military officials.
An agreement to end the war is still very, very far away, and no one has started all these steps yet.
Trump, who is eager to bring an end to the conflict quickly, slammed the Ukrainian president's remarks shortly after.
I want to see it end fast. I don't want to see this go on for years and years. But he said he thinks the war's going to go on for a long time. And he better not be right about that.
Trump also suggested that if Zelensky continues to resist negotiations with Russia, his position may soon be in jeopardy.
Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal. And if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long.
Trump's order reportedly halts over $1 billion in military aid as he demanded Ukraine demonstrate a commitment to peace talks with Russia. He has repeatedly called on Zelensky to show more gratitude for U.S. aid, while European allies have expressed frustration over the lack of progress in peace talks.
Clearly, we've had a major US-European break on all of this, something that I think the Russians in their wildest hopes wouldn't have dreamt of before.
Stent warned that this could signal the beginning of a U.S. exit from Europe. With the U.S. and European allies at odds, Russia's President Vladimir Putin may look to exploit the diplomatic divide to push for further territorial gains while peace efforts remain stalled. Meanwhile, French Prime Minister François Bayrou condemned the meeting between Trump and Zelensky, calling it an attempt to force Ukraine into agreeing to a deal with Russia under duress. This escalating situation has raised significant concerns about the future of the war and the Western alliance. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
And a senior U.S. official for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation is scheduled to arrive here in South Korea tomorrow, that is Wednesday. According to the U.S. State Department, APEC Ambassador Matt Murray's week-long visit to South Korea will include agendas here in Seoul and in the host city of this year's APEC summit, Gyeongju. Now, Murray is expected to engage with government officials and business leaders here to better align American and South Korean interests ahead of the annual gathering slated for this November under the theme of building a sustainable tomorrow. Now, South Korea's southern port city of Busan hosted the APEC summit back in the year 2005. We take you now to Spain, where the world's largest mobile device showcase has opened its doors, with, of course, AI taking center stage. Our correspondent Lee Soo-jin files this report from Barcelona.
Thousands have once again made the annual pilgrimage to Barcelona for the latest innovations in mobile devices and telecommunications. And at the 2025 Mobile World Congress, one theme dominates: artificial intelligence.
Basically, every booth that you are crossing is the one about AI integration. So it's all about AI mostly.
One such booth where AI is taking center stage is South Korean telecom giant LG U+'s first ever solo exhibition at MWC, where visitors are greeted not just by staff, but by the humanoid robot Alice.
I'm Alice, a humanoid robot, and I'm here to help you at MWC 2025. What would you like to know or experience?
Alice, can I take a photo with you? But it's not just about eye-catching AI technology, as LG U+ is showcasing AI innovations that are secure.
As AI develops, so there are more crimes related to AI, such as so the criminals use the AI-generated voices. Basically, there are many generated AI's defects, such as personal information leakages.
LG U+'s AI-powered technology, anti-deep voice, is designed to detect voice phishing and fraud by distinguishing between real human voices and deepfake voices.
We will send you the final version of the proposal.
After my voice was recorded, it was turned into a deepfake to test the technology.
This is the investigation team. Your identity is being reviewed for financial fraud.
The AI technology successfully detected that my voice was a deepfake. The focus on secure AI is also evident in the mobile industry, particularly in Samsung Electronics' latest mid-range smartphones unveiled for the first time at this year's convention.
That the Galaxy AI is providing you this new way of interacting with the device, also in a secure way. So the user have to be trusted that his information is never going to be compromised.
And the more budget-friendly prices are set to make secure and advanced AI-powered features, such as AI-enhanced photography, once limited to high-end models, more accessible. AI-enhanced photography features were also what drew large crowds to Chinese smartphones. Huawei showcased the world's first commercial trifold smartphone, utilizing AI to enhance zoom capabilities for photography, while Xiaomi debuted its 15 Ultra, featuring AI-driven extreme zoom and image clarity enhancements for photos. From AI-driven security solutions to AI-powered smartphones, this year's MWC is making one thing clear. Artificial intelligence is no longer an option but a necessity for mobile and telecom innovation. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News, Barcelona.
Acting President Choi has called for unity on the national front as Korea faces a host of concerns amid the threat of U.S. tariffs and shifting global order. The remarks to this end were shared during a cabinet meeting earlier on this Tuesday, during which he urged the main opposition party to rejoin the multilateral talks with the government and ruling party on state affairs. The talks fall under the consultative body launched by the parliament and the government amid the current political turmoil. The last week, opposition lawmakers refused to partake in the talks, citing acting President Choi's continued failure to appoint Justice nominee Mao In-hyuk to the Constitutional Court as recommended by the National Assembly. Now, there has been a more recent development in this story. Ruling and opposition lawmakers have agreed to meet this coming Thursday afternoon for talks on state affairs in the absence of the government amid the ongoing conflict over the appointment of Justice nominee Mao In-hyuk. Most parts of Korea witnessed snow and rain starting early Tuesday morning, and in quite a few places, that is, the precipitation will persist into the late hours of this evening. Dozens of ferries and flights have been cancelled, and property damage of greenhouses and livestock sheds has been reported. Accordingly, the Interior Ministry has raised its alert level from attention to caution. Also, as of noon, a heavy snow advisory was issued for some regions, including eastern Seoul and some parts of eastern Gangwon-do province. About 3 centimeters of snow has fallen in Seoul, while about 7 centimeters of snow accumulated in Ulsan in the southern part of the country. The advisory is issued when more than 5 centimeters of snow is expected to accumulate within 24 hours. On the K-pop front, BTS member J-Hope will perform his new track, Sweet Dreams, on the popular American talk show, The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon. According to his agency, Big Hit Music, on this Tuesday, J-Hope will be on the show next Monday for the first time as a solo artist. Meanwhile, his new track features global R&B star Miguel and will be released worldwide this Friday at 2 p.m. Korea time. Previews of the track can be found on J-Hope's official TikTok account. In other news, a special tour program took place this past weekend, offering those interested a rare glimpse of civilians across the inter-Korean border and more. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung has details.
Hundreds of people have gathered at Seoul Station to visit strictly controlled tourist spots near the demilitarized zone. They are on Group DMZ Peace Train tours offered by national railroad operator Korail's subsidiary Korail Tourism Development, headed by Kwon Baek-shin. Gyeonggi-do Province and the cities of Gimpo and Paju, marking the 80th anniversary of the country's liberation. This limited one-day trip provides 3 courses and one is visiting Gimpo. Going on the train itself gave them the journey's excitement, but scheduled events spice things up.
In Gimpo, a coastal barbed wire trail runs along the Hangang River, offering a unique experience of walking along the DMZ border. Also, visitors can experience local culture by trying coffee grounds using a Korean traditional millstone, setting it apart from other places.
There were guides leading everyone so we could travel comfortably on schedule. We could also wear military uniforms on the train, and there were many other enjoyable activities.
The preset itinerary offers a lot, but the most notable is a visit to the Aegibong Peace Eco Park in Gimpo City. At Jogang Observatory, people can see North Korea's border county of Gaepung, just 1.4 kilometers across the Imjingang River. Within this restricted military zone lies a branch of the iconic capitalist coffee brand Starbucks, which operates under strict security protocols. It has already attracted many visitors eager to get a rare glimpse of North Korean civilian villages. Coffee in hand, visitors can take a look at the villages, with some lucky enough to find North Koreans plowing and doing laundry in the spring. That is, however, not the only feature of Aegibong Park.
Although it is located within the civilian control line, it opens at night once a month. About 10 years ago, there was a steel tower where a Christmas light ceremony was held every year. This no longer exists, but instead, we offer a unique trail that looks like a Christmas tree as a whole.
An opportunity to witness the traces of a divided nation's history and have a peek at North Korea from up close. The DMZ Peace Train program will continue this year, starting in mid-April. 김보경, Arirang News, 김포.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories around the globe. At least 2 people were killed by Israeli drone fire in Rafah, and 3 others were injured in Khan Yunis on Monday local time. This comes amid growing fears of renewed conflict after the first phase of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas came to an end over the weekend. The initial ceasefire, which began in January, expired without an agreement on how to proceed. Hamas is demanding the immediate implementation of a second phase, calling for a full Israeli military withdrawal from Gaza. However, Israel has proposed a temporary extension of a ceasefire until April, contingent on further hostage and prisoner exchanges. After negotiations to extend the ceasefire broke down, Israel on Sunday imposed a total blockade on Gaza, cutting off all supplies, including food and fuel, to the enclave. At least 2 people were killed and 11 others were injured in the western German city of Mannheim on Monday local time when a car was driven into a crowd during a carnival celebration. Authorities have arrested the suspect, a 40-year-old German man, who is now under investigation for 2 counts of murder and multiple counts of attempted murder. According to Mannheim prosecutors, the man shot himself following the attack but survived and is in a stable condition in hospital. They also said the attack did not appear to be politically or religiously motivated, but suggested the suspect may have been mentally unstable. Police in Mannheim had been on high alert after a surge in violent incidents in Germany in recent months. In December, a similar car-ramming attack occurred in Magdeburg, followed by another in Munich last month. Pope Francis is back on a ventilator in a hospital in Rome after experiencing 2 episodes of acute respiratory distress on Monday. According to a Vatican official later the same day, the Pope's acute respiratory distress had stabilized and the 88-year-old pontiff was under careful observation. Pope Francis was admitted to the hospital on February 14th due to a respiratory infection with pneumonia detected in both lungs. The latest setback means the Pope will miss the procession and Mass on Wednesday, marking the first day of Lent. U.S. space company Firefly Aerospace successfully landed its uncrewed lunar lander Blue Ghost on the moon, becoming the second private company to successfully land on the moon. Blue Ghost, about the size of a compact car and equipped with 4 legs, carried 10 scientific payloads. It landed in the northeastern region of the moon in the early hours of Sunday, U.S. time. Firefly claims it is the first to achieve a fully successful soft landing. Previously, Intuitive Machines landed its Odysseus lander last year, but it touched down at an angle, causing many of its onboard instruments to malfunction. 윤세영, Arirang News.
Rain started in the southern parts of the country at dawn today and expanded across the country. Snow has been falling in some central areas, including Seoul. Looking at the amount of snowfall, up to 40 centimeters or more will fall in the mountainous areas of Gangwon-do province and up to 30 centimeters in the northeastern mountainous areas of Gyeongsang-buk-do province. The snow will mostly stop tonight.
From tomorrow, which is Gyeongchip on the traditional calendar, the cold will recede and the normal temperatures for this time of year will be restored. However, rain and snow will continue until tomorrow on the East Coast and Jeju Island. Tomorrow morning, Seoul and Daejeon will start off at 0 degrees Celsius, Chuncheon at -2 degrees. Daily highs will move up to around 10 degrees all over the country. Temperatures will return back to spring conditions throughout this whole week. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Right, those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, so do stay with us. Thank you for now.